Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look at a lens, and it's basically a rebranded Olympus lens. It's the OM System 12-40 f2.8 Pro, which we have here. Now, why I say rebranded Olympus lens, OM Systems bought out the Olympus camera division, a couple of years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago, and all their products have come now branded as OM System, as it is on my OM System OM5, which is basically a rebrand of the Olympus EM5 Mark III with a few additions and a few minor changes. Body is exactly the same. Well, they've done the same with these lenses. This is the OM System 12-40 f2.8 Pro, which is a rebranded version of the Olympus 12-40 f2.8 Pro. But they've made it a little bit better because they've added extra fluorine glass and coatings, not glass, coatings to help with contrast and with flare. So the actual image quality under certain conditions is going to be better with this lens. I'm not so sure though it's worth upgrading to this lens if you already own the 12-40. But if you are looking at buying the new lens, then it is well worth getting the OM System version as opposed to the Olympus version. Now, it's a gorgeous lens. It's always been one of my favourite lenses to use on the Micro Four Thirds system, whether that be Panasonic, Olympus, Blackmagic, whatever it might be. That's basically the lens, beautifully made. I mean, it's metal construction, really classy design. I've always liked the look of this lens. And in fact, I've always liked the look of all the Olympus Pro lenses. I think they're really classy. Although the looks isn't what actually takes for photographs, is it? That's not the most important aspect of a lens. The optical quality is what is the most important thing. We will take a look at a few images I've got on the computer here, but I would suggest you take a look at them on my Flickr and my SmugMug page. It's been much better looking at them there, and you can look at them at your leisure, because on here I'm just going to spin through them. So I will put these images up on my Flickr and SmugMug page, but that's basically the lens. It does trombone when you zoom, but I mean that doesn't really affect the image quality at all. It's got a manual focus clutch. Now that is lovely. If you are into manual focusing, and I do not a lot, but when I do, it's really handy to have. And having a manual focus clutch is great. So you don't have to worry about fumbling around looking for switches, going into menus to put it into manual focus. You literally just pull the clutch forward and then you're in manual focus. Actually, you put it back into the barrel. Sorry, you put it back into the barrel, and then you're in manual focus. And it is mechanical, so there's a firm stop at either end, which is lovely, and you get a really, really good, focus with that. It's a really, really nice focusing system, and it's very, very accurate. And depending on how you've got your Olympus or your OM system or your Panasonic camera set up, it will zoom in and focus peaking will come on, depending on how you got it set up. That's how I've got it set up on my OM5, so I can actually see the focus by seeing the focus peaking, and as I say, it does zoom in to a portion of that image. Let's just put it back on the camera body. It weighs 396 grams, so it isn't a lightweight lens, but it is no means a heavy lens either. I find with the OM5, that's quite comfortable. Certainly with the OM5's grip, I've had to buy a third-party grip to put on the OM5 because it would be quite heavy on this camera body if I didn't have that grip. But with that grip, weighs beautifully, absolutely no problem whatsoever. The lens is fully weather sealed against dust, moisture, rain, whatever you want to throw at it. So if you have got it on something like the OMD EM1 Mark II or Mark III or the OM1, certainly with its OM5, you've got full weather sealing, so you can take it out in all weather conditions. And that's great for pro use, that you can do that. It has got the constant f2.8 aperture throughout the whole range. So again, beautiful for video because the aperture won't change if you're zooming in or zooming out. So that's great. Also great for low light. So you can use this in lower light conditions. That's also great because Micro Four Thirds is a smaller sensor. So having that constant f2.8 aperture with a smaller sensor does mean you haven't got to crank your ISOs up too high. because that can be a concern with Micro Four Thirds, is cranking the ISO up too high. I find with the OM5 it handles it pretty decently, but of course with this lens you don't need to worry about it. So it's an all-round travel lens, it's an all-round general purpose lens. 12 to 40 in full frame terms is 24 to 80. So that's a really compact 24 to 80 lens at 396 grams. If you had that on even an APS-C body, but certainly a full frame body, it's going to be pretty much twice the weight. I would say fairly easily twice the weight, certainly twice the price of what this is, although this isn't a cheap lens by any means. A great travel, great all-round lens. But yeah, gorgeous lens, looks gorgeous on the OM5. I think it looks gorgeous on any Olympus body. It hasn't got in-lens image stabilization, but then vast majority of the Panasonic and Olympus bodies have fantastic IBIS in the bodies, so you actually don't need it in the lens. Yeah, great lens. So let's have a quick look at some of these images. Now, if we look at the comparison between wide angle and telephoto, so that's at the 12mm end, and that's at the obviously the 40mm end, so 24 and the 80mm. You can see having a wide angle right through to short telephoto or portrait style, I mean, it's very useful, you know, on a camera body. So you can pretty much go anywhere with that and not have to worry about changing lenses. That's the one thing that frustrates me when I do go out, having to keep changing lenses. And it's lovely to have one lens, keeping one lens on the camera body, and you don't really have to change it unless you do want extreme wide, or you do need a longer telephoto reach, depends on what you're taking photographs of or what you're taking video of. But pin sharp at the wide angle end and pin sharp at the telephoto end, from corner to corner, edge to edge. Handles chromatic aberration beautifully. Contrast is really good with it. Everything about this lens is just is absolutely fabulous. Just looks really good. Again, if we have a look at this sample here, let's take a look at these two. You can see here the close-up end and the wide-angle end. Whether you're done at portrait or landscape, again, image quality is great. That's a telephoto 40mm end. Again, crisp, lovely colours, lovely texture. Looks really good. And that's at the wide angle zoomed in. So, you know, it's nice to have a lens that is sharp at both its widest end and its telephoto end, and everywhere in between as well, which is wonderful. It is a really gorgeous lens. It's well worth the investment. If you're into, you know, serious photography, or even if you're, you know, an amateur that wants to take great images, being able to print them, whatever you might want to do with them, it's a great investment. It's a beautiful lens. And certainly if you're a professional, it's a no-brainer really, if you're using the Micro Four Thirds system. So yeah, these, you know, this lens can handle all sorts. I mean, look, the out of focus area is really nice. Again, sharpness is good, colours are gorgeous, as well as the colours being really good, the contrast, the dynamic range, it's just really nice. And that's in right up tight, looks really good. So yeah. And I'm saying, if you look at the out of focus area there, that's, what was that taken in? Let's just have a look. That was, yeah, so that's at the 40mm, which is basically 80mm, shot at f2.8, ISO 200. And you can still get that lovely creamy out of focus area for the background. So if you do portraits and you do want to be able to use Micro Four Thirds to get a creamy out of focus area, a creamy background, you can create it with this lens. The out of focus area is gorgeous, but what you're photographing is beautifully sharp. So, and you know, the specular highlights are really good. They're round, they're not, and there are no onion rings in them either. So just looks really nice, absolutely excellent. So I could go on and on about the image quality of this lens. You can see here, but I say take a look at them on my Flickr page. The handling of the lens is great. It does have a function button on the side of the lens there, which is nice, so you can preset that up in the camera bodies or what you want to set that up for. Unfortunately, with Olympus and OM system camera bodies. You can't set the function buttons up for a great deal, really. There's not a huge selection of what you can set it to, but at least it is there if you want to set it for exposure compensation, ISO, you know, and those sort of things. I've got it set up just to reset the focus point back to the center. So when I tap that, it will just go back to the center. I find that quite useful when I am focusing. But yeah, really nice zoom ring. I said it does trombone, but it's beautifully smooth, as you would expect, because it is a pro lens. And I say the manual focus is fantastic, and the fact that you can just pull it into the body to get it into manual focus, I think is awesome. The only thing I've found with this manual focus clutch is that sometimes I've left it in manual focus, or I've accidentally knocked it to manual focus, and I'm trying to take a photograph and can't work out why it isn't focusing. My brain doesn't always click into gear that I've got it in manual focus. But yeah, beautiful made. Yeah, really nice lens. So there we go. That's a quick look at the OM system 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro, which, as I said earlier, is basically a rebrand of the Olympus 12 to 40 Pro with a few additional coatings to improve the contrast and flare of the lens. There we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button if you like the content of my videos. We'd really, really appreciate that. It does help me grow the channel. Cheers for now. Bye.